So for those of you who don't know, Bakkavor are a leading international manufacturer of fresh prepared foods. They produce over 5,000 products in total for all the main retailers and have over 18,000 employees. Bakkavor also have 5 key values, which are customer care, can-do attitude, teamwork, innovation, getting it right and keeping it right. So I worked within 2 of the London sites, the first being Bakkavor Pizza based in Harrow, where I worked on the development team for Waitrose. I then moved on to Bakkavor Meals, where I also worked on the development team for Waitrose, producing ready meals, dips and snacks. So new product development, it's all about creativity and innovation, from blue sky product ideas to way that you can improve or adapt current products through to novel ingredients and processes and different types of packaging. I worked as a development assistant and my job description looked a bit like this. So I supported both the kitchen and the office team to develop and innovate new products and processes. So this meant I wasn't just working in the office all the time. We had 3 members of staff in the office and 2 chefs in the kitchen. So sometimes I'd be with the chefs helping them, sometimes I'd be with the office. It just depended where the workload was, and I helped out where I was needed. Complete store audits for benchmarking sheets, gap and range analysis. So we had crib sheets, benchmarking sheets. These detail all the information about the products already on the market. So if we want to see the nutritional information of a certain product, we've got current up-to-date information on our system where we can easily check. So I would go out to store fairly regularly to check for new launches, new ways of marketing, any price changes, and make sure all these documents are up to date. Work with chefs to weigh out recipes and record weights, seals, viscosities and pH. So when I was in the kitchen, it was really useful to see how the products are made, because that helps for all sorts in development, and learning all the processes and how it's done in the factory helps with new development and new projects you'd be working on. Order and collate your factory samples and courier requests. I was responsible for the Waitrose team for making sure all of the sample requests for all our meetings, whether they're internal or at Waitrose, were ready on time, got to the customer on time, and the transport was all prepared. So my typical day would look something like this. We would always start off with a morning meeting where we would all find out what was happening the next day or for the next week. Then if any products were going out that evening, I would book the transport for this to make sure it got there in time. Maybe then go out shopping to buy any of the products that we needed for the day, and also while I was there, complete a store audit. So check for any price changes, check for new launches. If there were new launches in store, I would bring them back so we could all try them and see what we thought of them. Then I would update any benchmarking sheets related to what I'd seen in store, so all our documents were up to date. I could then spend some time with the chef, so I was partly responsible for the raw material requests. So when we're developing new products, we have new ingredients. I help to source these, order samples, get all the spec information and price and all the information we needed. I would then go and collect these samples from the factory guys, which was sometimes a challenge because they got a bit lost. So a few problems there. And then if we had products going out that night, we would all chip in together to make sure all the products were made and all the paperwork was done, ready for the meeting the next day. Skills, massively important. I know personally that the skills I developed are really going to help me, and I can see a difference in myself to how I was before I started placement. So some examples: time management and organisation, absolutely key, because the food industry is so fast-paced. Things are changing all the time. Meetings will get cancelled, new meetings will get set up. You have got to be making sure you're organised and managing your time well to make sure you meet those important deadlines. Teamwork. We're probably all used to working in teams, maybe group work at university, people who are similar to ourselves. But in the working environment, you're going to be working with a vast majority of people who are different ages, they've got different skills, they've got different backgrounds. You may not always get on with them, so you've got to learn to work with different people and adapt to the people you're working with. That links in nicely with negotiation, so you may not always agree with what your team is saying. You may have other ideas of how things could be done differently. You need to find suitable ways to pass over your opinion and negotiate any problems you might have. And problem solving, of course, is key. You're not always going to have somebody there at the time to answer your question when you need to. So you've got to think on your feet, you've got to act quickly, because somebody could be relying on you to get a job done, so you've got to make decisions for yourself. What advice would I give to you? I would say get involved as much as you can and learn as much as possible, because the more you do, the more you're going to learn. The more you step out your comfort zone, the more you challenge yourself, the better experience you're going to have on placement. Don't be afraid to ask questions. No one's going to think bad of you if you don't know what you're doing or you need something explaining again. You are a placement student. You might not be aware of the processes that go on, so it's okay to ask questions. And if you do make mistakes, it's fine. As long as you learn from them, you're only ever going to improve.